her bills. You know, she just couldn't afford to go back to work, and she hated being on benefits.
Well,
so
benefits are too good,
yeah,
aren't they?
So they have to, you know, balance it out. For the people that do want to go back, they have to make it more viable for them.
Yeah, because quite how that reduces child poverty, I'm not sure, because, you know, as you say, anyone who comes off benefits and goes and gets a job is definitely not going to be better off, you know, so I'm not quite sure where that excuse comes from. But, you know, it is possible, and I think that, you know, the cycle's got to be broken. You know, people have got to stop expecting the state to look after them all the time. And, you know, I'm not saying everyone does it, but... but it's there, and it's not a safety net anymore. It's not just a safety net. It's become a way of life for some people. And, you know, I remember when I was growing up, and I remember as soon as my sister was at school, my younger sister was at school, my mum went out and got a job. But simply because she had to. You know, there were no benefits, hardly any benefits then, so she had to work. And, you know, the fact is, if kids grow up seeing nobody work, which they don't, you know, and when kids are at school, it's possible to get work while kids are at school. You know, they go to school at 9 o'clock, they're home at 4 or whatever. There are jobs that people can do in that time, and they've got to be encouraged to do that. And if it means cutting their benefits, then do it. Just do it. Stop talking about it.
You've hit the nail on the head, and that's that thing where, you know, they could go out and get a job, but it's not going to be the income that they currently get on benefits, which by no means, no one's living, you know, high on the hog on benefits, let's be honest. They might, you know, it's free money to them, and we're all paying for it, that's true, but no one's living the life of Riley. But I think what they've got to do is, I certainly do agree that there should be some incentive or you have to earn your benefits. And I absolutely think mothers should be encouraged to stay at home if possible, if they can possibly do it while their kids are there. But then once they do go to school, as you said, there's no reason that you can't get part-time work. But if you don't even want to do that because you don't want to take that cut in benefits, I think people should be encouraged or forced to go into education or retraining, so that, say it took them 10 years from when the kids from 5 to 15, in 10 years they could earn a degree, they could learn a trade, so that they can go out into the workforce and earn a decent wage and just completely get off benefits altogether. But asking people to choose is ridiculous.
I think that's the point. If you balance out the benefits and use the extra money for childcare, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but certainly in Scandinavia they seem... And Gordon Brown certainly has gone on a lot about working families. And I am a great advocate, as you probably know, about having somebody there when your children come home from school. But you can find jobs, you know, and with a bit of help within the community. I've done it when I was on my own. I had a best mate who was on her own, and she would bring her children to my house to look after my children. And one of the things, you know, parents aren't around, but actually 50, 60 years ago, people went to work and brought their children up, and their children knew what was right and wrong, and they knew how to behave socially. And I think what's missing, as Carol said, is that children do not see the joy of going to work, of taking responsibility. You know, if you sit at home all day, you've no interaction with the rest of the world, you've no sense of responsibility, you don't feel good about yourself.
Getting a work ethic.
A work ethic,
is really important.
And we have got to break this. It's 3 generations of people out there who've never worked. So it's got to, you know, it's got to be done, I think.
OK, it's competition time, and this week we're giving you the chance to shop till you drop with £10,000 worth of Marks & Spencer's vouchers. If your winter wardrobe could do with the once-over, get dialling and answer this question correctly for your chance to walk off with the lot. In fashion, drain pipes, flares and boot cuts are all types of what? Is it A, jeans, B, jackets or C, jumpers? Call 09012 931 941. Calls cost £1 from BT landlines. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles will be considerably more. Text A, B or C to 63303. Text costs £1 plus 1 standard network rate message. Digital satellite viewers can enter by pressing their red button now, and you can also enter for free at itv.com. Entrance must be 18 or over. All lines close at 10 AM on Saturday the 8th of November. Entries made after this time won't be counted but may still be charged. And the very best of luck. OK, Colleen, you're going to like this. Ooh. It's time to get your whip out.
Oh, hello.
As the feisty femme fatale, Marion Ravenwood in Raiders of the Lost Ark, our first guest gave Harrison Ford's archaeologist a right hook and a run for his money. Earlier this year, she was back with a vengeance, teaming up with her former friends for the eagerly anticipated Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is the second highest grossing film of 2008 so far.
Get on!
really exciting stuff there. I love those movies. They are my favourite movies. I love them.
Really. And how nice to be asked back. It's every actress's dream, isn't it? You do a part and you say, I do hope they get me back. I haven't died.
Well, you know, originally there was no plan to do a fourth. They were going to do 3 originally, and they were all going to go backwards in time. So they told me from the very beginning, your character will be in the very first one, and then, you know, it'll go backwards in time, because we know I've met him before, but when I met him, I was 15 or 16 years old. So had it gone back that far, it would have been played by another actress, I'm sure.
What was that like when you got that phone call? Was it out of the blue? Had you heard rumours that you were being written back into the next one?
You know, there had been rumors on and off for, I'm going to say, 10 years or something. And the rumors were that they were trying to make another one. They were trying to get a script that they really liked. And every once in a while, a little rumor would rise up that they wanted to include my character in the story, since this one was going to be going forward in time. And the last time you saw us in the film, our arms are linked, and we're standing there on the steps in Washington, D.C., and I'm saying, come on, let's go get a drink. So I think it was, it was a natural progression to bring my character back, but I, of course, didn't know that they would. And I think, you know, I hadn't heard anything about where the status of the screenplay was or anything, I think, for a couple of years, at the point in which the phone rang. And it was Steven Spielberg on the phone, and
Which is always a nice call.
Yes, it's a nice little surprise. Actually, a friend of mine picked up the phone and said, Karen, it's Steven Spielberg's office. And I said, yeah, right.
Amazing.
Were you worried about how they were going to bring her back? Because I loved your character, you know, in the early film, because she was so feisty, and she gave me as good as she got, really, didn't she?
You know, initially, I was so thrilled that they were asking me back. And Steven said, look, you know, we have a script. We're really happy with it. We've written a wonderful role for your character in the film. And, you know, I found myself saying, fantastic, great. Oh, I'd love to do the film. He said, I'm going to be in New York in 2 weeks, and I want you to come in and read the script, and then we'll talk. And in those 2 weeks, I did find myself thinking, oh, what if I don't love what they've done with her? Because I too, loved that character so much, and I thought she was such a fantastic character to play in the first film. And so I had a little bit of trepidation that maybe I wouldn't be crazy about, you know, what they did with her. But once I started to read the script, all those fears went away.
And all that physical stuff, you know, all that jumping up and down.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but for those of you who haven't seen it, there are some wonderful surprises in terms of, you know, where her life has gone and where their life together ends up. And
do you think if you weren't happy with what they'd done with her, you might have said no?
I don't think I would have said no, but I think there would have been possibly the room to sit down with them and say, look, you know, I'd love nothing more than to do this film, but, you know, could we, you know, do
tweak
a little
it here
talking
or do that,
about, about, you know, the direction that it's going in. You know, they have fantastic taste. We're talking about George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and you know, the writers that worked on the script, and so, you know, there was really, I mean, my fears were really unfounded.
You've done a wonderful thing as an actress, a very clever thing, and obviously talented, is to do other things. I admire you greatly. You do a thing with textile. Is that one of your textiles?
No, this isn't.
Oh, right.
What I do is I studied design, but I also my specialty was always knitwear, and I work on Japanese knitting machines. And so everything, unlike this, which is woven, I work more in the knitted stitch, and I work with just cashmere yarns because, like everyone else, I'm in love with cashmere.
And you're a qualified yoga teacher.
I used to teach yoga. I've
Prove it. Put your head behind your head. Go on.
I've been a practitioner since I was about 16 or 17, and when my son was little, and I was trying to stay at home, going back to what you were talking about earlier, I actually built and started a yoga school as something to sort of really get involved in, you know, while I was raising him when he was tiny. Yeah.
Amazing that you've sort of done all these things, and then Indiana Jones has come back around again. I mean, that must have sort of reignited the career in such a big way again, has it? Has it gone crazy since this film came out?
Well, yeah, I'm getting sent a lot of scripts. I'm just one of these people who I like to, you know, I like to have different things to do because, you know,